That's my name.
Hey, this is Sharks Across Hollywood, and we've been bullshitting for a good 12, 13 minutes now prior to me doing that, and you won't hear any of it because I'm going to cut it all out.
Then why say anything?
Because this is what meta looks like.
I love how you have to address the shit that the listener will never hear.
Do you know why? I don't know why I do that, but I think I have a theory is that I need some way to get into like I need some segue into talking to the people.
Okay, hey man, whatever does it for you.
And it doesn't work in my brain to just be like, hey, this is a show that you're listening to. Now what we're talking about on this show is ... It's this is a show that you're listening to, and we were talking before about other shit, but go fuck yourself. Hi, how you doing?
That's like insecurity masquerading as confidence.
Oh no, I'm very insecure. There's I am kind of pretending not to be.
Yeah, but when you say it, you get to say it with a kind of a wink and a nod like it's not true. We're both massively insecure. That's why we're doing this.
Are we as insecure as Mr. Bruce Leroy every time Vanity says, hey, you're hot. I want to suck your dick.
Speaking of which, Jesus Christ, she is hot. I've forgotten how hot she is.
Was hot. She died.
What? She died?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
2016.
Oh, my God.
I was actually kind of bummed out by that.
She was pretty young. She couldn't have been
57.
In her 50s. Jeez.
And the guy who plays Shonuff he also passed in 2008, which sucks.
Oh, that's too bad.
But of course, fucking Christopher Murney, goddamn Eddie is fucking still alive.
Eddie, the fucking producer?
Eddie Arcadian, yeah.
How the fuck? Because he had to be in his 40s or something in this movie, right?
When was he born? 1943, so yeah.
Jesus Christ. Hey, good on him for, keeping going.
Timac is still alive though, so.
What's the guy's name? Shonuff. What's his real name? It's something awesome. It's like
Julius Carey.
Julius Carey?
Yeah. Or as I like to call him, Angela's dad from Boy Meets World.
Oh, he was? Really?
Yeah.
God, of course there's a Boy Meets World connection. I should have guessed.
Fuck yeah, there is. And a Dumb and Dumber connection, actually.
And a Fargo connection, of course.
And Fargo. And Ninja Turtles.
I can't believe there's an Academy Award winner in this movie. William H. Macy.
Oh, fuck. That's right. Duh. Because I wrote that down in my notes. He shows up for
like
2 minutes.
4 seconds top. He is like blink and you miss it. If you look away to like stir your food or something like that, or like pick a piece of lint out of your popcorn bucket, fucking forget it. You've missed him. He's gone.
If you're listening, you can hear him though.
That's true. His voice is super distinctive, even like a decade before we got Fargo.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the Fargo connection. Duh. Yeah, right. You just said that, and I'm fucking stupid. Okay, I'm back on track now because I got stuck on Ninja Turtles, but we'll get to that. Something I just learned that El DeBarge is a solo artist. I thought it was a group.
Is that the Rhythm of the Night?
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah,
it's just the dude.
Apparently. El DeBarge was born on June 4th, 1961 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Okay.
Wouldn't have guessed that.
No.
Oh, well, I guess Motown is Detroit, right?
Oh, yeah, Michigan, yeah. He's married to Monique DeBarge, so that's just his name, apparently.
Huh, all right.
I did not know that. We'll talk about them here in a minute, too, or him, I guess.
Boy, they were really trying to recapture the glory of Michael Jackson for that one, weren't they?
Oh, just a tiny bit.
Like, it was... I had heard the song before, but until I saw the guy performing it, I was like, wow.
I had the tape. I'll tell you a little bit about when we get to it. So we're talking about The Last Dragon. I haven't even said that yet.
Oh, my God.
For those of you who didn't fucking pick up on all this random crap that we're talking about, because, we're like that.
The Last Dragon. If you have not seen it, turn this podcast off and go fucking watch it right now. It is a masterpiece. It is probably my favorite movie I've seen for the first time of this year so far, because I saw it for the first time just a couple of months ago, or no, not even a couple of months ago. It was like 6 weeks ago, maybe.
Oh, nice. That's almost a couple months.
Yeah, I saw it for the first time and was immediately fell in love with it. This movie is unbelievable. If you haven't seen it, you owe it to yourself.
And I've been trying to get him to watch it for like 2 years.
You know what?
He's like, what the fuck is that?
No. Credit where credit is due. I was wrong. You were right.
When I told you about it the first time, you're like, yeah, I don't even know what that movie is. And you just like completely dismissed it. I'm like, damn, dude.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was 100% wrong. You were 100% right. This movie is a masterpiece. This movie is fantastic. Everyone should watch this movie.
I'm just really like kind of shocked at how good the fights are.
Yeah.
In a movie like this.
Well, okay, to a point. When in the final battle,
keep in mind
within 2 moves, it becomes painfully apparent that Sho'nuff is no martial artist.
Oh yeah, but he can do that kip up thing, and he does it like 2 or 3 times in the movie, and it's actually him. So
he can. He's clearly got some stunt experience and stuff like that. That's not the question. But his kicks are so the kicks of a non-martial artist.
Yeah, but you can't have everything.
But that's the reason it stands out, is because you're right. The fighting in this movie is really good.
Like so much fucking better than I remembered it being from the first time I watched it. And I'm just like, holy fuck. And because Timac is apparently just like this prodigy of martial arts also.
He's fantastic.
And like that's why a lot of the fights are so good, is because he's so fucking good.
Yeah, he's terrific. The fights in this movie are fantastic. The fact that they got, what the fuck's his name? Eddie something from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Ernie Reyes Jr.
Ernie Reyes Jr.
Okay,
yes.
good. You did notice that.
Yeah, the fact that they got Ernie Reyes Jr., I was like, fuck yeah, man. It ain't an 80s martial arts movie without Ernie Reyes Jr. Fuck, that's his name. I keep forgetting it. That kid is so great though. Because I watched Sidekicks growing up, not the Chuck Norris.
I didn't. I want to.
show.
I want to find that. I want to watch it so fucking bad.
No, I watched that weekly growing
my
up.
God.
I was a huge fan of that show.
That show looks fucking awesome. I mean, as awesome as a dumb 80s karate show could be.
I mean, it's what you expect. It's what you think it's going to be.
Then it's exactly what I wanted to.
Yeah. No, it is. It's exactly what you want. And he's great. He's got so much personality, that kid, and he's not even an anomaly in this movie. Everybody in this movie has so much personality.
I love Johnny so fucking much.
Is that the little brother?
No, I hate the little brother. The little brother's a pain.
I think the little brother's hilarious, man. That kid walks with so much swagger. It's so unearned. He's fantastic.
Johnny is the guy who like I mastered the art of fighting without actually knowing how to fight.
Oh yes, Johnny. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm you know me, him. I'm the worst with names. Funny. He is hilarious.
He's like, how about a he keeps on calling himself an Oriental. And
yeah.
It's weird.
He's like, people are scared of Orientals.
They're just scared of Orientals. So all you have to do is like move around a little bit and make some noise, and they just think you're gonna kick their asses. Like, that's fucking brilliant. I love it.
And then I love that he eventually, like, just a switch flips in his brain and suddenly he's a martial arts master.
Just like in not Sidekick, Surf Ninjas.
Does that happen in Surf Ninjas as well?
Kinda, yeah. Except it's more magical in Surf Ninjas.
Oh my god.
You gotta watch some Surf Ninjas, man. Well, we know what we're doing eventually this year. Surf Ninjas is fucking on the table.
You know what? I should never have written this movie off. And for that, I am not going to write off Surf Ninjas, because you were absolutely right about this movie. 100%. I can admit I'm a big enough man to admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong about this. I should have listened to you the moment you said it. This movie is amazing. And you know what? I will watch Surf Ninjas.
Well, you were going to anyways, because we're doing it.
I know, but I will do it without complaining.
It's way dumber than this, but
I changed my mind. I rescind everything.
Well, I'm trying to think of a good comparison, too, because this movie is also kind of dumb, but it knows it's dumb, and so does Surf Ninjas. Surf Ninjas knows it's dumb, too, because Surf Ninjas came out in the wake of Ninja Turtles and Three Ninjas, so it's got that dopey, dumb bullshit going on. And early 90s surf culture is fucking ridiculous anyways.
Isn't Surf Ninjas the one with Leslie Nielsen as the villain?
Yes.
I just watched The Naked Gun yesterday. And Prom Night, by the way. Did you know he was the dad in Prom Night?
Oh my god. I know that he used to be like a big dramatic actor until somebody's like, you know what? I think he could be funny.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you know what?
Whoever created Police Squad is a fucking genius.
And then they're like, you know what? Let's just make him Mr. Magoo. Why the fuck not? I remember it. I never watched it.
It's not bad casting. It's just a bad idea. But it's not bad casting.
A live action Mr. Magoo movie. Yeah.
But it's not bad casting. If you have to make the Mr. Magoo movie, Leslie Nielsen is absolutely the man you want playing that role.
Yeah, no. I used to watch the cartoon and stuff, so I know who Mr. Magoo is. It's yeah, it's pretty funny. It's good stuff.
Oh my
Anyways, let's go back to the 80s though.
Fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's go back.
So this movie opens like a Shaw Brothers movie.
Yes.
Where Timac is doing all of his cool kung fu shit.
And it's pretty rad.
Just set to some music, and it's really cool.
It's a strong opening. It's no rad, but a few movies are, so...
Yeah. Yeah, and I love the...
Still strong.
I was trying to figure out more of a connection between, like, kung fu and black culture, especially back then, and there is a huge connection. Like, you look at it, and a big reason why is that a lot of these movies were, the Shaw Brothers in particular, they were super cheap to, like, port over and dub and just throw in these inner city movie theaters.
Yeah, the Grindhouse theaters.
Yeah, the Grindhouse theaters.
Like they did well because, like, you don't have to, they're not sophisticated.
Yeah.
Right? They appeal to just broad audiences. They're just for everybody, and anybody can come in and just enjoy a ridiculous martial arts movie. And so, I mean, that's obviously why they have the scene in the Grindhouse theater where they introduce Shonuff, and, it's all to Enter the Dragon in the background. Yeah. There's so much Bruce Lee in this movie. It is absolutely over the top almost, but appropriate given what they're doing with the movie. This movie knows what it is.
I keep on conflating two movies though. I'm like, wait, Bruce Lee's gonna pop up in like a flashback, right? And I'm like, no, wait, that is a completely different movie. that is No Retreat, No Surrender.
What?
Not a flashback. The kid in No Retreat, No Surrender, his dad makes him quit his martial arts classes. So he ends up training himself. But what's really happening is that he's like having visions of Bruce Lee, who is training him through these weird visions.
Is that the one with the kid from what was the movie? Kamen Rider?
No.
Is that the one with the kid from Kamen Rider?
No, that's A Dangerous Place. That's a very serious movie. No Retreat, No Surrender is a dumb riff tracks ready 80s movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I must have.
With Van Damme as the bad guy.
Really?
Before anybody gave a shit.
Oh, okay. So is this pre-Bloodsport?
Oh, yeah.
Huh. So I assume it's a canon release then?
No.
Really?
No. It just happened to be, yeah, he just got cast as this fucking, this bad guy who does not talk, I don't think, not a lot.
Because I know, I actually just learned today, I did not know this, but apparently Van Damme's very first role was in Breakin'.
Yeah, he just a background dancer guy.
But, like that was a canon release, and then he goes on to be in Bloodsport, which is a canon release, and then he was in several canon movies, if I recall correctly. So I just figured canon had him, like, from the beginning.
See, No Retreat, No Surrender came out in 1985.
So that was definitely post-Breakin'.
Directed by Corey Yuen.
Who's Corey Yuen?
See, Corey Yuen, No Retreat, No Surrender, obviously. He directed The Legend with Jet Li.
Oh, okay.
And Righting Wrongs.
Oh, shit.
And
all right.
Yes, Madam.
Oh, goddamn. He did Yes, Madam and Righting Wrongs, because Yes, Madam is the best of the line in the Line of Duty movies. I've watched them all now, and I can definitively say Yes, Madam is the one.
Heart of Dragon. Hero from 1997, which is a remake of The Boxer from Shantung, and I was going to tell you about that, but I totally forgot. That is a wild-ass remake. Holy shit. Millionaire's Express. God damn, this guy fucking directed everything. Okay, cool. I'm just going to read it. I'm just going to read through it now. Game of Death 2, Ninja in the Dragon's Den, No Retreat, No Surrender, Yes, Madam, Righting Wrongs, No Retreat, No Surrender 2, which has nothing to do with the first one. Dragons Forever, good fucking lord. A lot of classic as fuck Jackie Chan movies. Fist of Fury 2 in 1990. Oh, Fist of Fury 1991 Part 2. That's weird. Okay, yeah, The Legend and The Legend 2. The Bodyguard from Beijing. My Father is a Hero, which is also the not the Executioner. The Enforcer, sorry, with Jet Li. And Hero, so close. The Transporter.
He directed The Transport? Jesus, this guy's got a great resume for action, man.
Holy shit.
I mean, honestly, you could have given me just Righting Wrongs and Yes, Madam, and I've been like, all right, I'm there. But holy shit.
I keep yelling into the mic. It's because I'm very excited and I'm drinking Mountain Dew, so it's going to get wild.
Is that Mountain Dew? I thought that was Coke.
Yeah, no, it's Mountain Dew
Code Red.
It's
okay,
Code
that's
Red.
What threw me off.
Because I hate myself.
You were a 17-year-old in 2006?
Okay, so we're talking about the opening scene still, right? So I just came across a piece of trivia on the thing. Once the opening credits are done and then we break into him, he's still training, but he's training with a with a master, and this guy, this whole Chinese guy's like shooting arrows at this kid, and he's like chopping him in the air as he's doing all this other stuff. He's like doing the wooden man and the punching bag and shit.
Right.
And he's like chopping these arrows in half. And apparently, during the introductory training sequence, Leroy Green karate chops an arrow as it soars past him. It was a real stunt that took 2 hours to get right. Yeah, this is really cool. And just him, slapping arrows out of the air and shit. And then finally he catches one, and the master's like, "How did you know it was the blue one?" And he's like, "I don't know, man, I don't know." And then the master's like, "Well, what the fuck do you mean you don't know?" And then he like bows to him, and the master like giggles. And he's
no. He rips
off
the
his,
sigil
like,
off of his shirt.
That's right. And he thinks he's like shamed his master, so he fucking bows down. And the master just giggles and goes, "You've been watching movies again, huh?"
It's so self-aware in that respect, like it realizes that it's dealing with tropes, and it's trying to subvert some of those tropes, but it's also trying to play within those tropes. I can't believe how fucking good this movie is for what it is. It really shouldn't be this good. This should be just another cheesy, action movie, but it's great. It's great.
Like is that also?
Yes, it is. That's the thing. It is that, but it's also subverting that. Like right off the bat, it has this thing, and he immediately says it. He's like, "You've been watching too many movies, haven't you? You think all these guys dropping to their knees, begging to be forgiven by an irritated master." He's like, I'm not against you. This is a good thing. It's fantastic. It immediately subverts the trope, but also is playing within the trope. This movie's so much better than it should be. I mean, it is what it is, but for what it is, it's tip top.
And we learn that Leroy has touched the final level, which we don't really know what that means yet. It just means that he's this badass kung fu not master. He says he's not a master yet, but we'll touch on that because that's important. But then his master, he never calls him Sifu either, which bugged me. I'm like, it's kung fu. He's supposed to be Sifu, not master.
It's kung fu, but he's like all over the cultural awareness of this movie is the exact level of cultural awareness I would expect from somebody who just grew up watching action movies from all over the world, like with no delineation, just like it's ninjas and kung fu and shit that like they're making karate. He calls his mom Mama-san and his dad Papa-san.
Yeah,
that's Japanese. That's not Chinese.
Yeah, he's just engrossed himself in like Asian culture. Karate Kid had come out like a year prior to this, so I'm guessing that's where the san part comes from.
Yeah, probably, but that's the whole thing, like it's totally culturally oblivious. But that's kind of why it's awesome. Like that's why it has the confidence to do all the stuff it does, is because it's so oblivious.
My favorite part in this scene is where the master's like, "Okay, so I'm no longer your master, so get fucked. But since you need a master so bad, there's one that is like the grand master, the best master. You need to find Sum Dum Goy."
Sum Dum Goy.
Which makes me happy. And he's like,
it's so ridiculous.
And he gives him this medallion that was supposedly, it's made out of gold. It was supposedly, it belonged to Bruce Lee and shit. We'll touch back on that.
Which is actually kind of perfect because I've said this on the podcast before, but I will reiterate it. Like I've grown up with people who've been doing martial arts. Every single one of them, their master, who, whatever the discipline is, tries to connect himself, and it's always a him, to Bruce Lee in some way. Like I once fought Bruce Lee. I once fought a guy who fought Bruce Lee. Like every single martial arts person tries to connect it to Bruce Lee somehow.
I killed Bruce Lee. I dressed up like his mistress and fucking drugged his Coca-Cola or whatever the fuck he drinks. So now let's cut to that movie theater, because this is a really actually important scene. I wonder if the movie theaters were actually like this. Like, this is just, it's like everybody's okay with like all the craziness going on.
Now I've never been, but listening to stories from Quentin Tarantino, because he grew up going to movie theaters like this, sounds pretty accurate.
It's a lot like that. They're just kind of yelling at the screen. Everybody's having a good time. It's a different experience than going to like your local megaplex now, or multiplex, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Sit down and watch a movie. Everybody's just kind of chilling, watching an old Bruce Lee movie that they've seen 100 times. Because it's 1984, 85, and Enter the Dragon came out in 73, so...
Yeah, so it's been, like 12 years of this movie getting play, and it's a fucking awesome movie.
And then, fucking everybody's having a good time. And then these people, this weird lady brings in a boombox and starts like breakdancing and shit. And everybody's like, the fuck?
I think we can sidestep that because the real star of this scene.
Oh, yeah. No, this is where we meet fucking Shonuff.
The Shogun of Harlem.
And he's the cheesiest scenery chewing villain ever, and it's delightfully
God,
amazing.
I love this guy.
Like,
he is so good.
This dude doesn't need to know martial arts. He's fucking great.
I agree. It's funny when he does the kicks and it becomes really apparent that he doesn't know martial arts, but I don't care. I don't say that as a complaint. I say that it enhances the thing, if anything.
Yes.
Because this dude is so perfect in every scene he's in. Like you said, he is chewing up scenery like it's made out of like fucking cookies, man. Like he is tearing it apart. He is so fucking over the top. I love him. He's one of my favorite characters I've ever seen.
And he's such the opposite of our main character, Leroy, who is this just lovable, like you said about Van Damme in Bloodsport, this aw shucks type of guy.
Very much so, yes.
And I love him. You're supposed to like him, and you do. He's just a sweet kind of dope.
Although I will say, him walking around in that gi with that rice patty hat on the entire movie, like every time I see it, it's a shock. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh my God, he's still wearing the fucking outfit.
Yeah, it's because he lives his life.
It's so ridiculous.
As a kung fu guy.
It's so over the top. But like I said, very lovable guy. I definitely approve of him. But yeah, Shonuff is his exact polar opposite.
He's the real star of the show, though, really.
100%.
He comes in and he's like, who's the baddest motherfucker here? And everybody's like, Shonuff. Even the crowd starts to get involved. But then there's this one little kid who's like, you're not the baddest. Fucking Bruce Leroy is the baddest. That's what they call. His name is Leroy Green, but they call him Bruce Leroy.
Yes, they do.
Which is delightful. And
Bruce Leroy.
And Leroy
I fucking love it.
He's like sitting in the front row or some shit. He is oblivious to what's going on. No, he's not. He doesn't give a shit, but he turns around and he sees Shonuff doing his thing, and he just kind of smirks at him and then just goes back to watching the movie. And he's eating popcorn with chopsticks and shit. But yeah, he doesn't give a shit. Shonuff's like, okay, fine, I'm going to kick his ass. And then he kind of gets up in Leroy's face, and Leroy starts, what does he fucking say to him? He's like, these weird platitudes of wisdom that he throws in Shonuff's face.
The secret awaits eyes unclouded by ambition.
What?
Those who are bound by desire see only that which can be held in their hands.
See? Now it is mumbo jumbo like that. Skinny little lizards like you thinking they the last dragon that gives Kung Fu a bad name.
And then there's some legends also that Leroy can catch bullets with his teeth, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, he's talking about like all the things he keeps hearing about this guy and how it's all bullshit. Spoiler alert.
Also, Shonuff says, I'm back. And
apparently he was out of town.
I was going to say, I can't imagine where the fuck he went.
College. He was at Princeton.
You know what? All right. Yeah.
He was the Shogun of Princeton for a while there. I agree. This guy is so over the top. Like, where was he going?
I have no fucking idea. It's
this
so
guy's
weird.
level of mania can only be that of somebody who has lived in their domain their entire life.
Kumite.
Oh my God. You're right. Because he is a master. He has the glow. Again, spoiler alert. Like, if you haven't seen it. But he does. In the end of the movie, he has the evil glow. So
yeah, shit. And we actually get to see how badass he is because a bunch of people are just getting sick of his shit. And they start attacking him, but he kicks all their asses.
And he's like, any 50 of you motherfuckers come down here and see.
Except this movie's PG-13. So
he doesn't say motherfuckers, but...
And then that scene's over, and then we meet our other villain, who is essentially like the main villain, but like not really the main villain. He's not the most interesting villain.
He's
technically...
it's like, it's the unbreakable thing, right? You have the soldier villain, and then you have the evil genius.
He's technically the boss villain.
Yeah. Which, by the way, the fact that Barry Gordy produced a movie in which the big bad is an exploitative music producer, the levels of irony are thick enough that you could cut him with a knife.
But he's a white exploitative music producer?
True. Okay, so like maybe he was trying to distance himself in that way, but... But I mean, you got to admit, that's pretty fucking
Like, this is
hilarious.
Motown. We're not Virgin Records, god damn it. And his name is Eddie Arcadian, except he's a video game kingpin.
He's the king of arcades.
Yeah.
Because arcades were huge in the 80s, man.
Yet we never see him near a video game console, or not a console, an arcade cabinet, or in an arcade, or at an arcade, or
But
anything.
remember, during the dance rehearsals, he gives the dancers quarters.
Oh yeah, he does give him quarters.
Because they're clearly they're clearly attached to an arcade.
Yeah. Why do I keep yelling? I keep yelling. I'm just very excited.
Because you keep getting surprised by these new facts. You keep standing in awe of the shit that this movie throws at us.
That's true. And then we also meet his girlfriend, whose name is Angie. Come back to her, because what the fuck?
Angie. Oh boy, yeah. What to say about Angie? Yeah, we will need to come back to her.
And remember what I said when I was talking to you about this before we actually did it? You had watched it, and I'm like, well, there was also that like horror sci-fi element too, and I couldn't remember quite what it was. It's here with this fucking water tank with this monstrous man-eating fish.
Yes, it's this fish. It's one fish, mind you, not a school of piranha like you might expect.
It's just like
from
a
an 80s
giant creature in this fucking.
And the
thing.
water is so murky you can't see anything that's in it, but there's clearly something big and vicious swimming around. And at one point, Mental from Dumb and Dumber
Yeah.
shoves a giant haunch of meat into the thing, and the animal strips it down to the bone in a matter of seconds.
Yeah. And you know where it leads to?
Fucking nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Oh, well, one good joke where
Yeah.
he goes, hot head needs cool water.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, no, not the tank, please.
And that's it. And it's weird because that seems like something that a bad guy should get thrown into at some point.
You would think somebody, well, but again, it's a PG-13 movie, so.
A villain does get thrown into a giant tank of water, but it is not that giant tank of water.
I was shocked at that. I was shocked that they threw a villain into a giant tank of water, and it wasn't the fish tank.
Maybe they had to reshoot it because they did it and it was too violent.
Oh, that could be. That could be. That would make sense, actually, because, yeah, that would have been pretty gory. That I'm thinking about it.
Now, in the next scene, we're going to stop the movie, sort of, twice for what essentially boils down to two different music videos. Yeah. So it's El DeBarge, The Rhythm of the Night. My grandpa gave me this cassette tape back in the day.
Really?
In the early 90s, yeah. He's like, have you ever heard of El DeBarge? I'm like, no, I don't know what the fuck that is. And I pop it in. I'm like, all right, come and feel the beat of The Rhythm of the Night. It's a pretty good song.
It's a good song. It's definitely trying to capture the glory of Michael's success.
And that's hard to do because, you know, it's fucking child touching Michael Jackson.
That was hard for Michael to do, let alone anybody else.
That is true. And then we meet William H. Macy for a whole minute of screen time.
I don't even think it's a whole minute.
Maybe, yeah.
I think it's 30 seconds.
He's like trying to convince Vanity, whose name is Laura something something. She's famous. She's like the host of this like Soul Train-esque music video dance show.
Yeah, it's called Seventh Heaven.
Yeah.
Or no, the club's called Seventh Heaven.
The club is called Seventh Heaven. I can't remember.
Anyway,
the show did have a name.
Yeah, it's a show where she plays her favorite music videos, you know, of the day. And so yeah, like he's like Arcadian is trying to get his new star. Well, we haven't met Arcadian yet, I guess. At this
we
point.
did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we were just talking about it like a minute ago, man.
I thought. Why did I think that we met him after we met her?
We were just talking about arcades and the
no,
the water
you're right.
tank.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
This guy's losing his fucking
I just
mind.
don't understand why I thought that. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? But yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, but no, Arcadian wants to get his hot new acts video on her show because, you know, hers is the hot show that all the kids listen to.
Yeah, and is William H. Macy going like, holy shit, you gotta play this video, otherwise this guy's gonna fucking kill me. And she's like, no.
Yeah, he's terrified. He's like, this guy doesn't fuck around. He will kill me. He'll slit my throat if you don't play his girl's video.
We stop the movie again for what is essentially another music video performed by Vanity. It's actually her.
Yes, it is.
Doing this. She was the lead singer of like a girl group back in the day, I think.
She was very hot. And I don't just mean beautiful. She's obviously very beautiful, but she also like she was a thing for a minute. She was in Purple Rain with Prince.
Oh, okay.
You know, she was a big thing for a minute there. I remember in the 90s hearing that she had found Jesus and became super dedicated to that.
Boring.
And yeah,
She is.
And then like they did like this whole retrospective on her previous career, and the thing with Purple Rain was very heavily featured.
She is like super cute. Like every look she gives to Leroy after she like falls in love with him, I'm like, oh, she's kind of adorable.
Oh, she absolutely. Jeez, she's like a black Jill Whitlow from Night of the Creeps.
I still haven't watched it. I have it
What?
downstairs. I bought it.
Oh,
but-
from Twice Dead.
Oh, her. Okay, yeah.
Just super cute.
Less wanting to fuck her brother.
Less incesty.
I was trying to explain to people about that, and I'm like, oh, the sexual tension between the brother and sister, and they're like, ew. I'm like, no, it's not like that. They don't actually. They're not supposed to.
Not. Yeah, it's inadvertent.
It's the actors, not the characters, that have.
Yeah, you can tell the actors just want a piece of each other,
and they're not good enough actors to pretend like they don't.
Exactly. And they're both frustratingly hot.
Yeah, it was annoying, and they were together in like real life at the time, so that was,
Exactly.
So
Twice Dead. Go check out our Twice Dead podcast, people.
Also,
if you haven't listened already.
Twice Dead fucking rules. That's all. That's
Twice
also an
Dead's
awesome
pretty
movie.
I'm pretty sure that one's on Tubi right now.
That movie is so fucking tonally uneven, it gives me whiplash. It's like, hey, this is really dumb. Holy shit, they murdered a cat. Hey, we're dumb again. Holy shit, that guy just shot himself in the fucking head? What the hell just happened?
It's all over the goddamn place. Oh, go watch it.
Oh, man. So we got our first, like, big, it's kind of a small fight scene, but we get our first real fight scene. You know, it's after the show's over, I guess. Leroy's walking around town trying to figure out who this Sum Dum Goy is.
Now, there was the fight scene at the theater.
That scene.
That was actually the first fight.
The first fight scene. Yeah, this is the first Leroy fight scene.
Yes. And it does take a surprisingly long time to get to it.
It does, yeah. Laura is essentially getting kidnapped because she told that guy no, so now Arcadian's like, well, it's time to fuck this bitch up, I guess.
And who shows up? She gets into her limo, and who's driving the car but
Sal.
Chaz Palminteri from fucking Night at the Roxbury. Did you just grab my ass?
I saw that movie one time in the theater.
I love how nobody knows Night at the Roxbury, but I reference it all the time because I've watched it 100 times, literally.
Yeah, dude, I don't remember it at all.
It's not good. It doesn't deserve as much as I've watched it, but I love it.
Like, I remember, like, the whole conceit is that they get into, like, a car accident, and that's how they get into the Roxbury or something.
Yeah, with Richard Grieco.
Sure, man.
No, but Chaz Palminteri, he was in a lot of stuff back in the 80s and 90s. Like, he actually became kind of famous after this. I think he got famous he became famous in like the early 90s, like 90, 91. He was popping up in a lot of stuff. He played a gangster a few times. No, he's a funny guy and not a bad actor. And he did his own stunts in this.
Oh, nice. That he's about to do right now, because Leroy shows up and saves her and kicks the shit out of all these guys. There's like 4 or 5 of them, and he really takes them out. He's really giving it to him too. Like,
yes, he is.
Yeah.
They have in the scene with Chaz Palminteri. He hits him, then he spins him around and throws him through the window, the driver's side window of the car. But there's no glass, right?
Yep.
It's just through the window. And I said to Storm, or Storm said to me, I honestly can't remember who said it first. You know, I think there was supposed to be glass there, but this is such a low budget movie that
they didn't want to break the glass.
They couldn't afford it. And then I said to him afterwards, I said, you know, actually, upon a rewatch, I think there probably was glass for the first take, but they fucked it up, and they couldn't afford to put a new sheet in, so they just threw him through the window.
We just say he rolled down his window. It's fine. So Laura is immediately into him.
Yeah,
like,
he just saved her.
Yeah. Oh, you're so cool. Thank you. And he's like, all right, bye.
He doesn't even all right bye. He just disappears ninja style.
But he left his gold medallion. Oh shit! And it's like broken into 2 pieces.
Yeah, he's gonna regret that later.
But we know why.
That belonged to Bruce Lee.
Yeah, it belonged to Bruce Lee. He was holding up his pants. Then we cut back to Eddie Arcadian, and his girlfriend is like, "Well, are we ever gonna get on this show?" And then I don't really know what the fuck was happening in this scene. Oh, it's because those guys come. That's right.
The gang
just
beat
is
up
supposed to bring Laura back, and she's like, "Well, can't we? Do we have to be like this? Whatever." And he's like,
she's hungry. She wants dinner.
oh, that's right.
And they're going to
she's
take
hungry.
her out to dinner to wine and dine her and get her approval.
You have to let her order a la carte.
Comes back to that several times. I love it.
And then he tells her, don't bug me and fix your face.
Yeah, he's a dick.
He is a dick. And then the guys come in and they're like, it's not our fault. There was like 30 black guys. And then
Huge with chains.
And then the one, there's like 30 black guys, and then they kind of step aside and there's a black henchman back there, and they're like, eh? And he's like, oh yeah, the big guys with chains. I'm like, that's fucked up. That's really funny. And it turns out Leroy is also a teacher. He has this all these students that he's teaching this kung fu stuff to, and this is where we meet fucking Johnny. Oh my god, I love Johnny.
Johnny's a character.
Johnny is they're afraid of Orientals. He
keeps calling himself an Oriental.
Oh my god,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, he's like, I've mastered the art of fighting without knowing how to fight. And
yeah, no, he says, you know how you're always telling us to master the art of fighting without fighting? Well, I've decided to master the art of fighting without knowing how to fight.
He's lovable, but kind of dumb.
Very dopey. Yeah.
And then Shonuff and his goons show up. Of course, they show up and they're like, I'm gonna fight you, Leroy. And he's like, no, thank you, sir, because he's a nice guy.
He's like, I do not wish to fight you.
And Johnny at least has balls.
Yes, he does.
You got to admire that. Can't fight for shit, but he can fucking.
He's like, you want to fight him? You're gonna have to fight me. Wah!
And then they start chasing him all over the place.
And then they immediately go for him, and he's like, fuck.
Yeah, but then they capture him and they're like, we're gonna fucking kill this guy if you don't bow down and kiss my Converse. And of course Leroy's like, fine, because he doesn't want to, because honor and all that shit. So he goes down to he bends down to kiss his Converse, and then he gets kicked in the face.
This is one of those scenes where you can really tell where it's going, like what the ending is going to be.
Yeah,
like it becomes really painfully obvious in scenes like this.
Have you ever watched a kung fu movie before? Like, from frame one, I know exactly how this goes.
Well, all right. I haven't watched as many kung fu movies as you have, but yeah, I like it's pretty apparent where this is going. And honestly, having watched as many kung fu movies as his master implies in that beginning conversation, Leroy should have realized where this was going too.
Well, yeah, so you have one destination, but like a couple paths to get there. You have the Leroy path, which is like the Daniel LaRusso and all that, where you don't want to fight, but sometimes you have to fight, and it becomes okay in certain situations. But then you have the other guy who's like, I don't want to fight you right now, but I'm gonna kick the shit out of everybody around you until we finally get to the point where we have to fight each other. That's mostly the Shaw Brothers' way of doing things. They just everybody just kicks the shit out of everybody until the last fight happens, and then the movie's over.
That's fair. It's not like it's breaking any new ground in terms of story. It's more the framing that is super interesting and unique about this one. And they did come up with like the glow. That's pretty that's kind of their thing. Somebody
mentioned that it's like, oh, this is like the first black superhero movie, because I was looking up a few videos about black culture and kung fu and stuff, and they were talking about this and how it's kind of is important because
I guess I guess he is like sort of a superhero because he has like supernatural power in the end. Because I was gonna say, like, it's not the first black martial arts movie. Jim Kelly or something like that. What was it? What was the movie he did? I mean, obviously he did Enter the Dragon, but I mean the one he did, Black Belt Jones.
Black Belt Jones. Yep. 74.
Yeah, so it's not the first black martial arts movie by any stretch of the imagination, but he does have superpowers. Like he gets the kung fu superpowers. So I can see an argument there.
And we meet Leroy's family. His family's pretty cool, aside from his little brother.
I love this kid. This kid is so ridiculous. He's so stupid, and he's so
mean.
He has so much unearned confidence.
He's so mean to his big brother, who is just a nice guy.
He's a total dick, but he's a very charming dick. And he's like 12, and he clearly is like under the misapprehension that if he can just get a date with Vanity, then she's going to be all about him.
Oh, yeah. No, it's weird. And,
it's so ridiculous.
Leroy comes down from the roof.
Like, he gets sincerely mad about it.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, Leroy comes down from the roof where he's doing his, training and stuff. And he comes into the room, and Laura is on TV, and after the brothers like talking about this dance contest, and it's going to be a date. The winner gets a date, and that's my woman right there. And then he's mean to his brother, like right off the bat. Leroy's like, that is her. I would like to see her. And then the brother's like, yeah, I'd like to see her, you fucking dork. Like, you're such a dick.
He is a dick.
He could just throw you out the fucking window.
This
right
kid
now.
walks with so much swagger and confidence that it's kind of disconcerting. Like the way he walks over to the phone when the phone is ringing, he's like
I hate him. I hate him so much.
this kid's got huge fucking balls on him.
The
That's
little-
all I can say.
His little sister's super cute, though. The little brother agrees to take Lord Leroy to the fucking dance competition.
If he carries him on his shoulder and raps the entire way.
Oh, we forgot the dad. The dad owns a pizza restaurant. And everybody thought he was super weird because he's a black man that wanted to fucking open a pizza restaurant. You better get your pizza over to Daddy Green's Pizza or some shit.
You know what this movie is?
An advertisement for Coke?
Well, that too, obviously, because Coke is it. But this movie is an argument for all of the good things that have come from cultural appropriation.
Like black people making pizza?
Like black people making pizza, like black people making kung fu movies.
That's true. That's true.
You know, like I'm not saying that cultural appropriation doesn't have problems. It clearly does. But nobody talks about the good side of it. And this movie is the good side of cultural appropriation. Because if it wasn't for cultural appropriation, this movie would not exist and the world would be a lesser place for it.
So they get to this dance competition. There's a giant line outside. It's $5. Coke is on the sign.
There is so much fucking Coke advertisement in this movie.
And Leroy's like, oh, hey, are you going to buy a ticket? And the kid is like, yeah, of course I'm going to buy a ticket. God damn it. And then he pulls him away and he's like,
He's so pissed.
I haven't paid to get in here fucking ever. Oh,
It's
my
like,
God.
you're not going to enter without paying, are you? Shut up, narc. Jesus.
And then, of course, the little brother goes inside to get himself like entered into the contest for free, not for $5. And then he leaves Leroy out there and he's like, you ain't my brother. And then Leroy he says that, he's like, I ain't your brother. like he really leans on
Leroy
the ain't.
stumbles so hard through slang in this movie. It's
Yeah.
kind of hilarious.
So it's a good thing Leroy is waiting outside though, because Laura gets fucking kidnapped again.
Yeah, the guys show up with a TV van, like a video something van.
And I don't know why the host is fucking concerned about the sound. It's not the host's job to figure that shit out.
And they con her into the van and then lock it behind her. And she's like, ah! Starts screaming. And then he runs up behind him. And the guy was carrying a clipboard that says Arcadian Productions.
Yep. So that's dumb. So that's
good thing for
Yeah.
Leroy and for Vanity. I'm not going to bother to learn her character's name.
Laura.
She's just Vanity.
We cut to Arcadian's office place. And not going to lie, I like this really dumb song that his girlfriend played.
I found a picture inside your suitcase. I don't know what it means. I didn't recognize her face. Mail order catalogs underneath your mattress. Polaroids to suggest she was not an actress. Why is this friendly group all jumping through a dirty ball? I found a dirty ball. I found a dirty ball.
I mean, it's a pretty bad Cyndi Lauper knockoff,
Yeah, that's
but
what they were going for.
it's exactly what you would expect from a Cyndi Lauper knockoff. It's kind of awesome if you're into that kind of thing.
And they're showing it to Laura. She's all tied up because, again, the host of the show just has all the fucking power. I don't really understand this.
They don't
But,
need
okay.
to talk to the producers or anything.
And they're like, so, what do you think? Do you like it? You going to put it on your show? She's like, fuck no.
Credit where credit's due. This gal's got some balls on her too, and I like it.
She just wanted to say, first of all, this song is fucking terrible. Second of all, you guys done this to me twice. Like, what the fuck? How?
And he's like, I was gonna let you order a la carte.
Oh God, a la carte. And then he's like, it's time for like an ice bath or whatever the fuck he says. But he essentially wants to throw her in the fucking
To the fish.
tank.
But he doesn't get the chance.
His girlfriend though, Angie, is like, hey, maybe she's just tired, right? We could just do this another time. We can ask her again tomorrow or whatever. Because she's not an evil crazy person.
Yeah, she's actually kind of sweet. What she's doing with Arcadian, who fucking knows? He's clearly a manipulator, though. So
Oh yeah, he definitely said, "Oh, I'm gonna make you famous."
Yeah, and he kisses her ass the exact right amount to get her to do what he wants, and then he oh yeah, he's just a piece of shit. He's such a piece of shit, and he's so good. The guy they got to play him,
Oh, he's perfect.
is
Yeah.
so good for this. Storm actually said to me, he looked over at me this time we were watching it because he actually woke up for this one. I was like, "You gonna watch The Last Dragon with me?" He's like, "You fucking A, I'm gonna watch The Last Dragon again."
Fuck yeah.
So
This is-
he was actually up for it, and he kind of looks over to me. I think it was about halfway through this scene. He looks over to me and goes, "Why the fuck is this guy going so hard for this character? Like, he's really putting it in, you know?"
because Barry Gordy gave him lots of money for it.
I'm telling you, this guy's great. Everybody's so good in this movie.
I know it has no business like being this good.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It's so much better than it deserves to be.
And then finally Leroy shows up dressed as a fucking ninja, and he's throwing like these shurikens at everybody and just kicking ass. It's pretty good
Guys are going for their guns, and he's like, "Knife to the wrist, knife to the wrist."
because he doesn't want to kill anybody now. We
No.
don't want to, you know, he's a good guy. But yeah, no,
He's the hero of the piece.
He'll fight when he has to. I do just want to point out though that several people were almost going to be Shonuff. I just saw this
I
in the
can't
trivia.
imagine anybody else has shown up, but let's hear a list.
Jim Brown.
I like Jim Brown, but Jim Brown doesn't bring the over the top intensity of this guy.
Ron O'Neal.
Oh shit, that's fucking Superfly, man.
Carl Weathers.
Wow.
Interesting
Really?
choice. Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams is too cool for Shonuff.
You're going to like this one. Fred Williamson.
Fuck yeah, Fred. Oh yeah, god damn, Fred Williamson. I'd have been down for that. But having seen this guy as Shonuff, I wouldn't want to replace him. He's so perfect.
Here's a good one. Kevin Nealon.
There's no way that's
It's not on there.
there.
That was a joke. I'm just kidding.
Okay, I was gonna say, what the fuck?
I was
man?
trying to find the whitest person I could think of.
The most antithetical version of Shonuff possible.
Yep. Anyways, okay. So after Leroy kicks their asses, he's in Arcadian's face going like, "Leave her alone, you son of a bitch." But then Arcadian like rips his mask off. He's like, "Oh, hey, this piece of shit." And then that's when Laura gets all wet in the pants, and she like smiles and bites her lip. She's like, "Ooh, Leroy."
If that woman looked at me that way, I would have melted right then and there.
Well, he was too busy staring at
That's
Arcadian's bald head.
That's true. He was that, and that's a yeah.
And what does he say to Arcadian about the cold bath
say-
or whatever?
Oh well, yeah, because like he's basically like telling him to leave her alone, and Arcadian is like not giving an inch, and so he's like, "You know what? Hot head needs cool water."
Yeah, and then he dunks him in there.
He dunks him in the tank, and the fish starts going. And Arcadian's like, "No, not the tank, not the tank."
And that's the last time we see that. Sort of.
And then he only dunks him in there for a minute, and then he brings him back up, and he's got like one little nick right at the top of his nose.
Yes.
And he's like, "Tell him to get this fish the fuck out of my office."
He doesn't get eaten, of course. Then Leroy and her, they go to her apartment, and she gives him back the medallion. And she's like, "Just could you not like disappear this time? Give me a minute. I'm gonna go grab the medallion." He's like, "Yeah, sure."
And she's got this cool like Audi conversation pit where it's like it's got stairs up to the conversation
Yeah,
pit
because
rather than
she's
into.
rich. She's a TV host.
But it's pretty cool. I hadn't seen an inverted conversation pit before, and I kind of liked it because I think conversation pits are really underrated and should make a comeback.
We're in a conversation pit right now.
That didn't deserve that laugh, you fucking asshole.
I didn't think it was that funny. I'm just glad somebody else did.
It wasn't, and I shouldn't have laughed that hard, but I did.
That makes me happy. So he gets the necklace back.
Halfway through my laugh, I'm like, what the fuck am I even laughing at this for?
You're just laughing because
It just came out.
you thought it sounded funny, even though it wasn't.
Yeah.
See, that's the power of timing and
Yeah, it's one of those things.
delivery. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. The timing was good for me, and it hit me in the funny bone. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, that's not fucking funny.
You know what is funny? He gets the medallion and he takes off. And
Oh, no, she tells him, don't disappear on me now.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then she gives it to him, and he fucking
and then just
disappears.
poof. But the best part is coming up. He goes and finds Sum Dum Goy, and it happens to be a fortune cookie factory. And these three fucking goobers are dancing to the dumbest fucking song I've ever heard, and I kind of love it.
These guys are hilarious.
I'm gonna have to throw in some audio for that because I cannot sing it. I can't even pretend to like remember the words. But what the fuck? It's delightfully stupid.
Sukiyaki hot sake soup. You suck it to me, I suck it to you. Sukiyaki hot sake soup. You suck it to me, I suck it to you.
No, and what's great is this is another one of those moments. I'm telling you, like, this was all intentional, right? Because in this scene, you got these 3 Chinese guys. I'm assuming they're Chinese. They could be anything.
Right.
Based on the way this movie's going. It could be like a Chinese guy, a Thai guy, and a Japanese guy. I don't know. But these 3 ostensibly Chinese guys working at this fortune cookie factory, all of whom heavy black slang, like talk like they're totally black, like they're fully invested in.
They actually make fun of Leroy for being too Chinese.
Yeah, like they call him they call him a coolie, which is like a racial slur for Asian immigrant workers. He just wants to see the master, and they're like, "Get the fuck out of here," and they just like mock him relentlessly, and then slam the door in his face.
And how'd you feel about this cut? Like, we cut from that scene immediately to Shonuff's face in the pizza place. Like, we're missing several frames of something here. Because it's just like, fuck off, Leroy. And then, I'm Shonuff. And it was just a weird cut to me. If you go back.
I guess I didn't notice it. I wasn't paying a lot of attention to the editing, so.
It just seemed abrupt.
There's some things that
shocking.
probably slipped my notice. But I love the scene of Shonuff in the pizza place.
Oh, yeah. So he shows up at the pizza place and he's like, I'm looking for Leroy Green. And his dad's like, that's me, man. And he's like, no, Leroy Green is some like little boy or whatever the fuck he calls him.
Yeah. He basically like, he likes to pretend he's a kung fu master.
Yeah. How do the parents feel about this?
You must be talking about Junior.
Yeah, Junior. It was like, oh, yeah, it's Junior. And they're going to leave Leroy a message by destroying his parents' fucking pizza place.
Needless to say, his parents are not stoked about it.
No, and how do they actually feel? Because they're never like, hey, you need to stop this kung fu shit.
Yeah, that's a conversation that never gets had, and I understand if they needed to edit that out because the movie's almost 2 hours long, and this movie really, like, this should have been. And I'm not saying that it's a problem because it doesn't feel like it drags at all. It doesn't.
No, it actually goes pretty quick for an almost 2 hour long movie.
But I understand them wanting to get the runtime down because this is the kind of movie that was kind of designed for that grindhouse setting where you want to have as many plays a day as you can.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't want it going 2 hours. You want to keep it under 2 hours so that you can get more plays per day. From a production standpoint, I understand why they would want to shorten that down, but there should have been a conversation between him and his family because it seemed inevitable. I mean, I guess they have the conversation where his little brother yells at him, but he's been doing that the whole fucking movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. And after that, his mom just like hugs him.
I feel like there had to have been a conversation between them at some point in the movie, but we never see it.
Also, Shonuff shoves the little brother where he should have been the whole time. In the garbage can.
He steps up. Again, this kid's got brass balls on him, and I gotta love him for it. He's just like goes after Shonuff, and Shonuff's just like, you little turd, get the fuck out of my way. Picks him up bodily, whole body, just picks him up, tosses him in the garbage can. It's pretty great.
It's some good stuff. And then they leave, and one of the henchmen grabs a piece of pizza, and then on his way out, fucking kicks the fucking front door and breaks it. And then Leroy shows up, and the little brother doesn't tell him, like, you need to stop this kung fu shit. He says, you're a pussy for not fighting Shonuff, basically.
Yeah.
And now...
And everybody knows it. Everybody knows you kissed his shoes.
Except he didn't, because he got kicked in the face instead.
Well, he was going to.
I know. But he was trying to save his fucking friend.
That's true. Nobody includes that part in the story, do they? Of course not.
And now Leroy's going to go angry train, because he need this, because he doesn't want to fight. And I get that, and I think that's cool. That's an admirable trait. But now they're fucking with his family, so it's time to go fight there, Leroy.
He's punching the heavy bag, rage punching the heavy bag like, peace is my strength, peace is my strength. There's some shit like that.
Yeah, he's trying to fucking make it happen. I get it.
I get it. It's totally, it's a scene you got to have in this kind of movie.
And this is probably one of the best acting moments Timac actually
gets.
For
him, yeah. He's not a strong actor. But he's cute. He's clearly a good martial artist.
Yeah.
And he's very, he's got a good look to him. He's got the moves. Not so much on the acting front, but he's playing the baby face, you know, and that's what he's good at.
But he has that thing where he's not a good actor, but it's like in a good way. I can't really.
Well, it also helps that he's surrounded by over the top characters, so he gets to feel like this kind of grounded center.
That definitely does not hurt.
That's actually something to learn. Like if you're going to make a movie where your star is not a strong actor, have them be a very grounded, you know, like a very understated character, and have them surrounded by over the top characters.
You know what you do. You know how you do that. You make it so they never use contractions,
which he never seems to do in this
movie. He does once. He says, "You'll be okay in here," when he shoves his brother in the cage for a second. You know,
is that
that's
literally
that's the only one that I noticed? Yeah,
he definitely does not use them often. He speaks in a very kind of stilted way.
So Laura shows up when he's doing his training, and she's like, "Hey man, you should be my bodyguard." I'm like, "Dude, she wants you to touch her fucking body is what she wants." Fucking. And he's like, "Nope, I'm a virgin." And his brother earlier said that he doesn't have a paintbrush to paint with, which means his dick doesn't work. Oh, his little brother also thinks that he has had sex before, like that he himself, the little brother, thinks he knows how sex works, and I don't think he's ever seen anything ever.
That's what I was saying to Storm. I was like, you know, I got to level with you. The idea of this kid knowing the moves is kind of upsetting.
Like, just
because he is like 12, maybe 13 at the absolute outside, but he's a Gary Coleman 13.
Like, I can see like at that age maybe getting to cop a feel on some girl at some party, but he's never done that because look at his dorky friends also, like, especially that chubby white kid.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way any of them.
No, what this kid does, this kid probably watches a lot of movies and TV, and he's adopted a persona that he is projecting, and he's doing a great job of it. He's doing a great job of projecting, but it's coming with a lot of unearned projected confidence.
Oh, yeah, just a little bit. Timac there. Leroy is not feeling so hot about himself. He's like, I can't be your fucking bodyguard. She's like, but I want a kung fu master. And he's like, I'm not a kung fu master. Keep this in mind. She says, well, you look like a kung fu master to me. That'll be important later. Then Johnny shows up, and he's a super huge fan of this girl. He's like, oh my God, it's her. I'm just going to leave you two alone, and it's fine. She's like, nope, I'm just leaving.
You're putting a little more stank on it than she did.
Yeah, she's way nicer than that. But on the inside, she's like, fuck this dude. What the fuck?
She's definitely frustrated. There's no question. And justifiably so.
Oh,
because Leroy's not in a good place right now, so he's being a little short with her.
He's self-aware about that, and he'll apologize to her later, which is nice.
It comes around. He's the hero of the piece after all. So.
And Johnny's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Seriously.
Like, go be her bodyguard. Are you stupid?
I'm 100% on Johnny's side on this one.
Absolutely. And then we cut to basically the villain interview where they're going to hire a bunch of these crazy over the top villains. There's this murderer who carries around this newspaper clipping of a murder he committed as his business card, as his resume.
It's his resume. Oh God.
And then there's another dude who wants double what everybody else is getting, but he like breaks the table with his head, and Eddie Arcadian's like, give that guy whatever he wants.
The guy doesn't even say anything. He walks up, hands a piece of paper to Mental,
and he just
and then he's like
it's so stupid. It is so stupid. And that's the kind of stuff you want. I don't know. It's just, everything works. Like the serious moments work because there's like a handful of those.
Not too many.
Not
of
even
them,
that many,
thankfully. Because this movie doesn't work on the moments work, but if it tried to play it straight too much, it wouldn't.
You need a couple of emotional beats to make sure you give a shit about what's going on.
Yeah.
But then the rest of it is just absurd action and whatever the hell's going on inside that water tank.
Which is what most of it should be, and thankfully is.
And then Angie finally gives up on Eddie, and she's like, he's like, you're just getting by on your tits. And she's like, yeah, well, she calls him a midget loser guy who is also getting by on her tits.
Yeah. It's a pretty good exchange. It's a moment where you're like, all right, this girl, like, good for her for breaking loose of this douchebag, you know? Like, because she very easily could have been super one note, you know, just an airhead who was being manipulated by this guy. But she has that moment of realization, and she acts on it.
Yeah, she like has an arc and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And then of course we can't have a villain recruitment scene without Shonuff getting recruited. Also,
Oh, Shonuff doesn't just get recruited. Like, he doesn't show up to apply.
He almost they go to him.
Yeah.
And they present him with his briefcase.
They headhunt him.
Yeah, they present him with his briefcase full of money. He's like, yeah, I don't need that. Just make sure this guy is at this place at this time, and I'll fucking kill him. Also, Eddie has a fucking wig on. Did you not notice that?
Yeah, he's wearing the toupee. Didn't he get the toupee ripped off when Leroy dunked him in the tank?
Maybe. I swear he was bald the whole time, and that's why this scene was just like, why does he have hair? Is that him? Like, what the fuck's going on?
No, I'm pretty sure he was wearing a toupee in that scene, and it
Okay.
got ripped off by the fish.
Maybe it was, and I just missed it, and maybe it wasn't, and you're imagining things. Maybe I'm
could be.
imagining shit. I
can't swear to it.
Now I'm not sure, since we're both. Oh God, we're getting old. We're no longer lucid at this point.
I haven't been lucid in 3 years.
Leroy ends up, though, back at Laura's apartment to apologize. He says he wants to be her bodyguard, but he has to complete his mission first. But she's like, that's okay, big boy. Just give me a minute. I'm going to go ahead and drive you somewhere. And then he does this thing. He's like, okay, so I have this friend. His dick doesn't work, but he likes this girl. Not quite what he says. He uses the term paintbrush and can't draw, like his little brother said. But she's like, oh, I'll teach you how to do stuff. I'll teach you some moves. And he's like, no.
Oh, it's not for me.
It's talking about my
not
friend.
Me. It's my friend.
And she's like, yeah, sure.
Okay, big boy, whatever you say.
She says she has like a surprise for Leroy. She's taking him to essentially to the studio. And in the studio, she's playing some music.
No,
and
you mean the club. She's
the
taking
club.
him to the club.
The club, sorry.
Seventh Heaven.
And there's this giant screen. Now
and she's got like a M. Bison control booth that she works from.
I thought the same thing. And she's showing clips of Bruce Lee movies. So I'm pretty sure he says, oh, it's Fists of Fury. And I'm like, but, okay, that shot is Fists of Fury, but the part with the nunchucks and he's fighting the Japanese toughs in the karate school, that is from Fist of Fury, which is also called the Chinese Connection.
No, that's a complete. Yeah, but that's way later in the supercut that she does. Like,
no, but because I think there's only like a couple shots from, but it's just funny that they're using the American names of the movies. They're not calling it Fists of Fury is the big boss. Fist of Fury is the Chinese Connection.
Well, but that's how they would have gotten to know him.
I know.
Keep in mind,
I'm just being pedantic.
Leroy grew up in the Grindhouse theaters watching the movies come.
I'm being pedantic and trying to show that I know stuff. Okay,
you're a Kung Fu super fan. We get it.
So yeah. Anyways, they and while this is happening, the little brother and his friends are all hanging out outside, and he's like, I'm just gonna wait here until she fucking gets here. Oh wait, I hear music inside there. Guys, let's sneak in and see what's going on. And they somehow find their way up until like the lighting rig area where they can see Leroy and Laura making out, because she kisses him and he like pulls away real quick and he's like, ooh, and then he smiles, and then he sees Bruce Lee kiss this chick, and then he kisses her.
Oh, okay. I guess I gotta
get
do
it.
this.
I gotta do it because Bruce did it. I'm sure Bruce kissed a lot of girls that were not his wife, by the way.
Yeah, safe bet.
That's where he died. He died at his mistress's house. That's true. I'm not joking.
I'm not saying it's not true. We've had this discussion before.
Yeah.
I am aware. Breaking news on Sharks Across Hollywood. Bruce Lee not faithful to his wife.
Jackie Chan's not a nice guy either, just so everybody knows.
What?
That sucks. I hated that piece of information that I got. I'm like, I just can't have anything, can I? We can't have Bill Cosby. We can't have Chuck Norris. We can't have Hulk Hogan. Now I can't have Jackie Chan either. I mean, I'm keeping Jackie Chan because I can't not, and I'm keeping Chuck Norris too, even though he's a piece of shit. It's really
everybody's an asshole.
It's so hard,
especially in entertainment. Entertainers are by definition assholes because they're people. And I speaking as one, okay, as somebody who aspires to be a professional entertainer, we're all assholes.
I don't know. I'm a nice guy. I want to be a professional entertainer.
You're an asshole too. You're just nice in the ways that matter to you. You're an asshole in other ways. I guarantee it.
I'm the nicest person alive.
I guarantee. I don't know what your asshole thing is, but it's there, and you're just blind to it. I'll bet you Rachel could tell you how you're an asshole.
I make fun of you for basically being a virgin.
I am not. I've had sex with 5 people, 5 women and 2 boys.
He had sex with one woman at least 3 times.
I don't like that I have to say 2 boys because I was a boy at the same time. We were both.
Oh yeah, you should probably qualify that.
Yeah. I had sex with 5 women and 2 13-year-old boys.
Hopefully,
I was 13 too.
I was gonna say, hopefully you were like 12 to 14 when that happened.
I was 13. They were 13. It was all consensual.
Phrasing.
It was all consensual. We were the same age. It was appropriate at the time.
So on the subject of inappropriate shit to say, the little brother and his friends, they walk out and he's all pissed off and he's like, he says the term chocolate covered yellow peril. Did you catch that?
No, I missed that one.
Oh God, yeah. I'm like, is that racist?
No, that's racist. That's racist for sure.
Oh my God. So, that was just funny. He's really pissed. He's like, I'm gonna give him some chopsaki justice. And they call the movie the Shaw Brothers movies chopsaki films and stuff. So that's just a term that they used. So Leroy then is inspired by the Chinese Connection, also known as Fist of Fury, to disguise himself in order to get into the fortune cookie factory.
I've never seen Chinese Connection, by the way. I've seen Big Boss, and I've seen Game of Death.
You've seen I haven't seen Game of Death yet.
But I think those are the only 2, aside from, obviously everybody's seen Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
I think those are the only other 2 Bruce Lee movies I've actually seen is Big Boss and Game of Death.
I think I don't want to call it Chinese Connection. Fist of Fury and the Big Boss, there probably is 2 best ones. Fist of Fury has that super iconic scene with the karate school and the nunchucks, and he's beating the shit out of these Japanese tough guys.
Well, Game of Death has that great, like the tower.
One Game of Death has that one scene that everybody likes,
sequence,
and then the rest
really
of the
cool.
garbage that they shot because they had to finish the movie.
I mean, there's a lot of filler in that movie.
Oh, you think? He died. He shot 7 minutes of actual footage for the movie. And then they're like, well, we got to do something with it. I'm like, no, you know what you got to do? Just leave that 7 minutes alone. It's fine.
Wait, Game of Death is the one that has the tower scene, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the only stuff that I think he actually ended up shooting.
Which is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it was just that tower scene. That is all he shot.
But yeah, there's a lot of filler in that movie.
And then they made a sequel.
Is that one of the Bruceploitation?
Who does? No!
Like starring Bruce Lee, L.I.?
That's in the 4K one, the 4K box set.
Really?
Yeah, that I do not have.
Is it just like cobbled together out of footage from other movies or something?
I'm not sure, actually. I'm pretty sure it probably has one of the Bruce Lee clones in it.
Interesting.
But yeah, this stuff gets real weird.
It's got some fake shemp action going on there.
The Chinese film industry was kind of almost worse at times than the American film industry. It got a little unethical there.
What?
Yeah, I know.
The movie industry being unethical? Shock and horror, Andrew.
He takes off leaving Laura basically all hot and bothered because he's like, oh, the Chinese Connection disguise. Let's go. I'm going to go. And she's like, but, horny. Okay.
Yeah, he just drops her right in the middle of that. They were just getting to the good part, and then
Eddie shows up to take her again, and the little brother says, get your hands off my woman.
This fucking kid and his my woman shtick. Jesus.
This is a really funny scene, though, when Leroy goes to the fortune cookie factory, disguised, air quotes, as a pizza guy, and he's like, yo, brothers, what it is, or whatever. And like his... like all of the voices that
imagine Steve Urkel trying to play a hard ass. That you pretty much got it.
Yeah. Oh, it's adorable. It's so fucking funny. But then he goes in and he just uses his regular voice.
I love that super timely Steve Urkel reference, don't you?
Who's Steve Urkel, man? What the fuck?
I've heard recently, like in the last 2 weeks, I've heard comics reference Steve Urkel. I'm like, is that really a...
And not like in past specials, like recently?
Like no, recently I've heard comics
like
on stage recently referencing Steve Urkel. I'm like, are you serious?
Going for the millennial audience with that one.
Who even remember? I mean, don't get me wrong, 40-year-olds and 30-year-olds, sure, but anybody under 30, no one under 30 is gonna know what
they're
the
gonna
fuck
have
you're
like a
talking
passing notion of like Urkel. Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
I've heard that term before, but what does it mean?
How about Stefan
Urkel. I couldn't believe how cool he was in that episode.
Hey, man.
Or was it more than one? Did he do that more?
He
than
did it
once?
a lot, yeah.
I only remember one.
That thing, fucking topical. He became Bruce Lee once.
In the show?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Him and Carl both did.
Wait, Carl
Yeah.
too?
And,
That's awesome.
And guess who they fought in the scene where they become Bruce Lee?
Please tell me it was Chuck Norris.
No, it was Jason David Frank, but still.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
he played like a thug in that episode.
was that post power? Like,
Oh, yeah.
like he was already Tommy at that point?
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of
That's a good get for Family Matters.
very interesting.
I mean, not that Family Matters wasn't a huge. It
No,
clearly
like, it
was
was-
a huge show, but
It was and I don't want to watch it. Like I bet I would enjoy it, but I've seen the ending and it just fizzles out pretty hard, and I'm
Oh,
like,
that's
that's a
too bad.
fucking bummer.
that's too bad because that show was a phenomenon.
Yeah, because of Urkel. I like that we could tie it. I like that we could tie it back to Bruce Lee though. That's fun. And he did that more than once. I'm pretty sure.
I did not expect that at all.
Oh, my note when he's trying to like do the thing, I'm like, he's trying to sound like black, I guess. Because that's essentially what he's trying to do.
I can't tell how much Timac
Timac
is acting on this or not. Like, was he really just that kind of dorky, or
I don't know.
is he just really playing the character well? Because
I've never
I
seen
buy
him.
it.
Yeah, I've never seen him in anything else. He's done other things, like he's done a lot of other stuff, but
Mhm.
I've never seen him in anything else. But I want to
I'm
now.
curious. I'm not gonna lie. I am curious because if he's pretending, he's really fucking good at it. He's
Yeah.
a way better actor than you think he is.
And this scene is just kind of funny. He brings in the pizza with bean sprouts and shit, and he's like, "I'm gonna see the master." And these three Asian guys, they're like, "Yo, blood, what the fuck? We're playing craps and shit." And then
No, the best part is where he's like, "Hey, ain't you that guy who showed up like dressed as a coolie or something?" And he's like, "No, we all just look the same."
yeah, we all just looked. That was funny. That was funny.
It's like, oh
Yeah,
my
so
God.
they immediately see through the disguise and shit.
But they decide to fuck with him anyway.
Yeah. And then Angie, in the middle of this, Angie goes to the dojo looking for Leroy and instead runs into Johnny. And this is kind of a weird scene because it kind of seems like she's still working for Eddie, even though I don't think she means to, like, say, tell Leroy not to go to the fucking club because the bad things are going to happen.
No, I think she was being sincere.
Yeah,
she was
just-
really trying to warn him, but
it just kind of sounds
yeah,
a little, yeah.
because she doesn't come back and like she's
No.
on her way out of town.
Yeah,
you
she's
know?
going back to Kew Gardens.
I don't know where that is.
I don't know. I don't live in New York, man.
Is that in Queens or something? Maybe.
Sure, man. It's in.
I mean, different borough, right?
You're a borough.
Fuck you. You got a laugh. You should not have gotten a laugh out of me on that one either. You son of a bitch.
So Eddie has taken over Seventh Heaven. We'll get back to that, dickhead. Oh, we'll get back to it, but it is fucking ridiculous. This guy, his ego is
Dude, this final
off the charts now.
This final conflict is amazing.
Oh yeah, Eddie is lost his fucking mind.
Okay, they have an aside in this that is really weird. All right, Eddie's at Seventh Heaven. He's in the Bison booth, and this video starts playing that it's clearly Stevie Nicks.
It's Charlene.
Yeah, but they're like, oh, this is Charlene, and he's like,
No, it's
oh my God, who is she? Does she have a manager? And it goes nowhere. It does nothing.
No.
It's just like a little snippet of Stevie Nicks doing a music video.
It's Charlene. No,
But it's Stevie Nicks.
it's Charlene.
Wait, that was an actual.
Yeah.
That was not Stevie Nicks because
No.
it looks just fucking like Stevie
It's
Nicks.
Charlene. Charlene as herself in the music video for Fire. She didn't record again for 18 years following this film's release.
She looks fucking identical to Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, nope, definitely Charlene.
I thought for sure
Weird,
that
right?
that was Stevie Nicks playing a character because the hair is clearly not Stevie Nicks style. Stevie Nicks never did that big, fucking 80s.
because it's fucking Charlene.
That is wild because she looks so much like Stevie Nicks.
I don't think Leroy knows how to play craps.
No, Leroy definitely doesn't. Leroy knows less than I know about playing craps, which is not much.
I know it's not hopscotch, which is what he's having these guys play.
Yeah, I know it involves dice and only dice.
And these dicks take his medallion because it looks cool, and they lock him outside. And he's just like, oh, I've had it with these motherfuckers. And he kicks the door down.
Oh,
they're-
and this is a steel door that they
Yeah.
have barred with
Yes.
a giant like piece of lumber, in the slot locks, so like it's super secure. And he just kicks that motherfucker right in half.
And he's like, take me to the master, god damn it. And they're like, whoa, man, the master doesn't really exist. And he's like, fucking what? And it turns out they take him to the back, and the master is just a fortune cookie machine and a fucking computer that prints off the fortunes and puts them in the cookies.
They were like, we just made him up so that we could sell more fortune cookies.
And then Leroy is pissed. He goes to his former master and goes, "What the fuck, man?" And then the master,
he's
like,
a little more polite than
Yeah.
that, but yeah, basically.
the master bends over this bowl of fortune cookies, and I didn't see this the first time, but there's like a fortune sticking out, and he pulls it out, kind of sets it off to the side, and hands him the cookie. And he's like, "Here, your fortune and what you need to become a,
And he says, this contains everything you need to become a master.
there you go. That's right." And then he opens it, and there's no fucking fortune. He's like,
Or no, he doesn't say to become a master. He says to find what you seek.
"Yeah."
Because he never tells him the thing about the master. He's trying to get him to come to it on his own.
It's empty, and he's like, what the hell? And it turns out also that the medallion is actually a belt buckle, I guess. I don't know if it actually is, but it like
No, the master, his former master says, a true master would use this to hold his
up-
pants
yeah.
up.
The true master is inside of you all along.
He doesn't
But he
say
doesn't
it.
say that,
He
but
doesn't
that's
say it, but he's like,
essentially
you
where
just,
it's going.
he actually has a really good line. He's like, you just opened a cookie with no fortune to find the answer to a question that's been inside you the whole time, or something like that.
Some
variant
yeah.
on that.
And he's like, all right, fine, whatever. Then Leroy he has to go save Laura. He's just like, you know what, fine, fuck it. Johnny wants to go too, but Leroy locks him in the weapons closet because Johnny can't fight.
Leroy's pretty clever about it. He's like, okay, you can come.
And Johnny's like, oh, really? Cool.
And he's like, you're going to need a weapon though, right? He's like,
It is a pretty
yeah,
good.
I am. And so he goes into the closet and Leroy just locks it behind him. He's lucky his little brother came along, because if Leroy had gotten killed on that trip, Johnny would have died in that fucking
Yes.
closet.
Yeah, baby Keno shows up, Ernie Reyes Jr., and he lets Johnny
He's
out.
so tiny too. He's like 6.
He is a little dude.
He's
still
so tiny.
I think he's got to be at least 10,
you know,
11.
yeah, he's more than 6 because
He's a tiny
Ninja Turtles was like, what,
Yeah.
6 years later or something.
Yeah,
like
something
that?
like that. He's a tiny dude.
And he was like 14.
anyways.
He was at least 14 in that, right? He might have been 16.
He was older.
He is just
yeah.
a tiny dude though.
Eddie's giant ego matches his giant face that's on those big screens at Seventh Heaven when he goes there. And then
That's some classic Final Conflict shit.
Oh
right
yeah,
there.
I know that's video game level shit.
Yeah.
Before video games like this were even a thing.
I mean, it's almost Bond villain level.
Yeah, I'm
It's
down.
fantastic.
And this is where the goons come out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a good fight sequence. He's kicking their asses, but just as Leroy's about to get his ass kicked, all of his students fucking show up and they're gonna help him out. And then the real fight just goes. It's all over the place.
Man, it's
And
just chaos, man.
Johnny finally fucking learns how to fight, and then
Like in a snap, he just goes from 0 to master.
just all of a sudden, yeah, it's all that fucking around. He finally eventually learned that some of it actually works.
He fucked around his way into martial arts brilliance.
And Ernie Reyes Jr. is fighting his dad. I'm not sure which one it is.
oh, really?
But
It's
yeah.
his dad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
His dad actually shows up in Surf Ninjas also,
Oh, that's
playing
cool.
his uncle.
That's cool.
So that's
well,
kinda
maybe
fun.
it's cool. I don't know. He is a parent who got his kid into acting really young, so maybe it's cool. You
Yeah,
never
I don't know whose fault. I don't know
Some of
who.
those guys. Some of those guys are real fucking creeps.
I'm wondering if it was Ernie Jr. and he's like, Dad, you're gonna be in this movie with me. Come on, let's go.
Maybe I don't know.
But watching little Ernie Reyes Jr. kick ass, he's doing all sorts of cool moves. He's a little
Oh
badass
yeah, he does
even back then.
he does the Cynthia Rothrock like behind the
Oh yeah,
back
behind the
kick.
head, and then he does that flying kick where he kicks 2 guys in the face as
Yep.
he's jumping off a thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Kid's got moves. He wasn't a phenomenon for no reason.
Yeah, and he was in Red Sonja and shit.
Yep.
Remember
He was
that?
in Red Sonja. He was in Sidekicks. Obviously, he was in some other stuff too. Oh, he was in Conan the Destroyer, wasn't he? Or was
No.
it just Red Sonja?
Just Red Sonja.
I thought he was in Destroyer. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
Shows up
wrong
in
about that.
the rundown, but that's way later, obviously.
Wait, yeah, that's a completely different Ernie Reyes Jr. at that point.
The little brother, by the way, is tied up. He got captured also, but he's not going to stay tied up for long because he does his little wormy dance moves and he gets out of the rope.
That was pretty fun. Like he's like just bopping to the music and then eventually whoop, off come the ropes.
And finally, not Not finally, I guess we got a little bit more. Leroy, though, he's going to follow Eddie because he has Laura, right?
Oh no, the real final conflict of this
It's coming.
pretty fucking epic.
Leroy uses these weird throwing nails, and he almost hits Eddie in the head, but he's like, next time I won't miss. And then Eddie's like, yeah, fuck it, I have a gun. Boom, boom, boom.
Which he took away from the boxer guy.
Yeah, Rock or whatever his name
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
I mean-
Rock. That makes sense.
But anyway, yeah, he took it away from him because he was like, no, we're not doing that. So he wanted, he pretty much knew that Leroy was going to come out of that one.
Yep.
Like it would have been fine if he got killed in that one, but if he didn't, he was going to lead him to Shonuff anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So little brother, his name is Richie. I finally figured out his name because he's following him because he's going to try and go save Laura and shit and help his brother.
The confidence on this kid
Yeah,
is
no
off
shit.
the charts.
He gets knocked out. Good. This is a good hit. Did you see when he gets thrown and his
Oh,
head
yeah.
fucking slams up
Just
against that tank?
Bang!
Oh man.
Yeah.
And then when he
That's some permanent brain damage right there.
he finally like gets to a point where he can like check on his brother and he moves his leg and it's just like dead weight. I'm like, damn, this kid's playing dead real good. Oh man. Yeah. So he locks him in the cage saying like, dude, you need to chill. I don't want you to get hurt, all that shit. Then Shonuff
And
comes
he's
out.
pissed. The kid
Oh,
is
yeah.
pissed. He's like, you gotta let me save my woman. I was doing all right till that guy
To jump me from behind
jumped me
or
from
whatever.
behind. Yeah.
And then we get the final final showdown with Shonuff.
And this is the one you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Right here.
This is it.
It's
great.
not perfect because, like I said, this guy clearly
He
not a
doesn't know martial arts. Yeah.
but he's still got the personality, and he's good with his hands. Like he really does. He can fake it with his hands.
And he's a big guy
He's
too. So
fucking
he's intimidating.
huge. So big.
And he can do the kip up, which is always impressive.
What is a kip up?
where they kick themselves up?
Oh
and-
yeah. Yes.
And he does that 2 times in the movie, and both times he turns around and looks right at the camera, so it's actually him. I'm like, fuck, I can't do that. Never could, even when I was a
And
skinny
he
little
is
kid.
not a small guy, so that is a lot to like leverage. He's moving a lot of flesh.
Oh, dude, you should watch some of those fucking giant wrestlers do that. It's fucking insane.
I have a feeling Andre the Giant never did that.
No, not that big, but like Samoa Joe can do it.
Really?
Yeah, that big.
Okay, that's
bastard.
impressive. Because
Oh my God.
he is a big dude.
Yeah, some of those guys just shock the hell out of you with that stuff. So Leroy, it looks like he's gonna kick his ass. He knocks the dude out, but of course that doesn't last long because
No, and that one's really on Leroy because he just assumed the fight was over at that point. Like okay, like come on, Leroy. When you're fighting the big bad, you gotta put him down.
And there's this talk
gotta
of the
really do
glow.
it.
We mentioned the glow and how Shonuff, which in like a second here he's gonna pop up and his hands are gonna start glowing red. And Leroy says something about the glow to Laura, and he's like, in the wrong hands that could be really deadly, so it's bad.
But he also says how like an evil master may be able to achieve the glow in a hand or in a foot. He's like, but a true master can achieve the glow in his entire body. And so when Shonuff returns, he's got the glow, but it's only in his hands.
Yeah. And it pops up in his feet too. Like
Yeah.
he kicks them and like you see the red.
But the point is,
sparks
it's
and
not a
shit.
full body thing or
Yeah.
anything.
So he's kicking the shit out of Leroy at this point.
But it makes sense because Shonuff understands that he is the master of himself. Like that. If Shonuff has anything, it's that level of confidence.
Because he keeps on yelling at Leroy, "Who's the master?" And Leroy's like, I'm not saying that. Who's the master? And then he fucking starts dunking Leroy's head in that pool of water.
Yeah, he finds that they make their way to this
Fucking
giant water tank thing, and he starts. And yeah, you're right. This probably was supposed to have been done in the in the office, but then they didn't have the budget for it.
And
or
Eddie
something.
and Eddie is
Or
there
the
at this
rate they
point.
couldn't get through the
Yeah.
rating.
And Eddie is there at this point with Laura, and he's like, "Kill him! Just kill him already!" And
But Shonuff wants him to say that
he's the master.
When he says who's the master, he wants him to say Shonuff.
Shonuff. But he doesn't. Eventually, he's like, "Who's the master?" And he's like, "I am." And then, boom, he has the yellow. I guess it's golden.
It's gold.
It's a golden glow, and he's the master. But we have a little flashback kind of sequence, right? I told you to keep that part in your back pocket where she said, "You look like a kung fu master to me,"
It's not just that. It's like they
There's a
flash
bunch of
through
other
his master,
and
telling
like
him
catching
that he
the
did-
arrow and stuff.
Yeah. So it's I mean, we've arrived at this like at most 20, 30 minutes into the movie.
The real master was inside of you all along. Does
Yes,
your
it
butt
was.
hurt?
I knew you were going. I knew it.
He beats the shit out of Shonuff. Shonuff, by the way, lands right in the fucking water, and he's like drowning. But then Leroy's like, nope. He
Leroy
fucking
grabs him, pulls him out,
like halfway.
just drapes his arms out of the pool so that he doesn't drown.
Because he's a good guy. And then Eddie decides he's had enough of this shit, and he just shoots Leroy.
Oh no, he takes out the gun, and then he
man.
has a monologue. You know how
Of course, the villain
this is gonna
monologue.
put an end to all that kung fu bullshit, and then just pow, and guess what?
Everybody's there to see it.
Guess what? The legend is true.
Oh, look at that! He's got the bullet in his mouth. When Eddie at least goes to check to see if he's dead.
Kicks him over, and then he opens his eyes and smiles with the bullet in his teeth.
Fuck yeah! And then he hangs up Eddie on some chains, and then the cops come, and apparently he's been in trouble before because the cops are like, "You're going away for good this time." Apparently,
That's pretty awesome.
He's been here before.
But by now, Leroy has disappeared again because he's a master of
Ninja vanishing.
ninja kung fu.
So, of
Ninja
course,
fu.
Ninja
That's
Fu.
it, Ninja
Yeah,
Fu.
There we go. Laura is hosting the show again, so this must be a day or two later, at least sometime later. Maybe it's the same night. I don't fucking know.
Well, they do when the cops show up. Her makeup person and producer show up.
Yeah,
and
they
they're
do.
Like, we've got a show to do.
So
it's like it could be like literally 5 minutes later.
So she's doing the thing, and she looks bored and depressed because Leroy just fucking disappeared, man.
Her man ran out on her
And then he pops up in the middle of the crowd
in a brand new fucking custom gi.
Yeah, he looks
which is
sexy.
actually this. I don't understand why he wasn't wearing this the whole time, because at least this looks right on him. Like the other one looked like he was doing cosplay. This one looks like it's actually something a kung fu master of that era might, who is American, he might actually wear.
He's just now realizing that he is a kung fu master.
I guess that's true. I guess this is kind of the first time where he's actually himself and he's embraced who he is. So that actually makes sense. You're right.
And when we see him, it cuts to her and she smiles, and it's so fucking cute.
Oh my
she has
God,
such a cute
such
little
a
smile.
great smile.
And then he keeps on yelling at her while the music's going.
And nobody can hear him.
Can you? And then the music stops. Can you teach me some moves? And everybody giggles. And then Richie finally comes around because one of his friends is like, "Look at that dweeb," or whatever.
He's like, "Shut up! That's my brother, and he's a master."
Yeah. And then finally, Leroy and Laura kiss, and they ascend to the heavens. The seventh one.
And we're out. A Barry Green picture. Or wait, no, it's not Barry Green. It's Barry Gordy.
Leroy
Barry
Green.
Gordy. Fuck.
Barry Gordy, Leroy Green. Leroy Green is the
That's right.
the character.
A Barry Gordy picture.
A fucking Barry Gordy picture. Okay, so what do we think of this piece of shit? This is a really bad movie, right?
Fuck you. This movie's awesome. I can't believe I should have listened to you from the beginning.
Yeah, you definitely should have. God damn it. No, this is a legit movie. It's very good. Especially if you're into this kind of dopey kung fu shit, it plays into all those stereotypes perfectly.
It's everything you want it to be.
Yeah.
If whatever you came into this movie wanting out of The Last Dragon, starring Timac and Vanity, and you walk in with a certain idea in your head. This gives you everything you want and more.
I legitimately appreciate a person of color being the fucking hero of a movie, especially these days, because I'm like, dude, I have seen that movie before. The white guy saving everybody. I appreciate people, just all kinds of different people doing stuff. It's great. It's great for me, but it's also great for them, just not seeing another white guy save the fucking world.
Well, and what's great about it is that it's just a great fucking movie. It's just a bucket of fun. It's so much fun. It's so good. And yeah, you get a person of color who gets to be, this badass fucking superhero. So, you get representation is important. Absolutely. 100%. So yeah, fuck yeah, man. This movie is awesome.
I think everybody should watch it, especially if you're into the dopey kung fu shit.
It's so much fun. If you can enjoy that type of stuff at all, you owe it to yourself to check this movie out. I delayed and I regret it.
Right? You could have had so much more time with this movie.
This is gonna be a perennial classic in my house. I'm gonna be watching this annually, which I remember when I was a young man, my dad used to say that, and I used to think, once a year, God, how can you? No, I was like, that's not nearly enough for one of my favorite movies.
Oh.
I would watch my favorite movies every day, sometimes every week at least, But now, you know, I'm an adult. I've got responsibilities.
There's so many
movies to watch. Like if I put a movie in an annual rotation, I love that fucking movie.
Yeah, I mean, I watch the Creed movies all the time.
Yeah, that's fair. But those are top tier for you. I watch The Thing maybe a couple times a year. Big Trouble in Little China, The Room, you know, like these are movies that I fucking adore.
So fucking The Last Dragon. I think we've said our final thoughts. The movie's awesome and you should watch it. So we're done. Fuck you. Follow us on social media.
Can we just
on everything.
Get through one episode without telling the audience to go fuck themselves?
No, fuck you too. You can follow us on everything at the Shark Pod. If you want to be insulted more but pay for it, you can subscribe to our Patreon for just $1. It's fine. $1, $2, $1 million. I don't give a shit. Patreon.com/SharksAcrossHollywood. Give us your money so we can make him a full-time comedian and me a full-time this, I guess.
I'll tell you what, if you pledge at $1 million, I will write and record a full 45-minute special just for you.
Also, fuck you, fuck everybody, but consensually. Anyways, we'll be back in a couple weeks with a bunch of other shit. Well, maybe not a bunch of other shit. Another movie that we'll be talking about, which I don't know. At least
another movie,
because yeah, we'll
do figure it out eventually.
It'll be fun, and fuck yeah. Until a couple weeks from now, I guess. That was very tentative. We'll be back in a couple weeks, but until then, stay jawsome.